So, yeah, I've been deep in the dev cave. Not gonna lie, it's been 12, 14-hour days lately, just bouncing between projects, running every new AI model I can get my hands on. Claude Opus 4.5, Gemini 3, GPT 5.1. It's like every time you look up, someone's dropped a new state of the art model and the hype cycle goes wild. But here's the thing, after burning through all my credits, pushing code, trying to actually ship something real, what do these upgrades actually mean when you're building solo? Which one is worth trusting? And honestly, is any of it going to save you from another late night AI induced code mess? Just real quick, I'm Daniel. I've been living in the iOS trenches for over 8 years now. I started off freelancing, working with clients, figuring out what actually works, and honestly, got tired of the corporate ping pong. But after Dub 25, I kind of flipped the switch and went all in on solo dev life. Since then, I've crafted over 10 of my own apps, started building in public, and right now, pretty much all my energy is going into Crafter's Lab. It isn't just another tutorial site or some AI clone farm. This is my actual home base. It's for solo devs who want to use AI like a real teammate, not like a vending machine. So, yeah, I'm keeping it short, but if you want your own solo command center and be part of the crew, that's what Crafter's Lab is for. And yeah, if you're still on Patreon, massive thanks. But heads up, everything's moving over to crafterslab.dev. Honestly, if you want to get in and lock your membership before things get busy and before I roll out real pricing, now's the best time to join. For real, come be part of the crew. Okay, so here's where I'm at after way too many hours switching between the new models. Gemini 3 Pro, the hype was loud. People were hyping this model months before it even launched, right? And yeah, it's good. It's genuinely solid. Runs fast, gives you the answer you want most of the time, but and this is the bit nobody talks about. I don't know if it changes the solo dev game. Like, is it the build your whole startup in a weekend magic bullet? Nah, it's just a really competent agent. What really caught my attention is how token hungry Gemini feels compared to the others. You'll run a few big context sessions and start watching your quota melt. The read side caching does help. That 20 cents per read thing is a real win when you're running lots of lookups. But honestly, you still burn through more tokens than you want if you're doing long, messy build sessions. And as for the API pricing, $12 isn't cheap if you're pushing hard every week, but you can live with it for serious sprints. Claude Opus 4.5, this one surprised me. I honestly didn't see the drop coming. I figured, it'll be the same price as last time, just a couple tweaks. But Anthropic dropped the price just enough to actually make me think about using it for real work. Still not cheap, but if you use the prompt caching, you can actually get away with a lot for a reasonable bill. And more important, the coding output is wild. I've been using the high thinking mode on some gnarly refactors, and not gonna lie, it's handled multi-file changes, weird project layouts, and edge case bug hunts better than I expected. If you know how to steer it, you can work around its occasional weird assumptions. Now, GPT 5.1, I'll just be honest, it's the one I was least excited about. Maybe that's on me. I didn't feel much of a difference. It's just, there. I keep thinking, maybe I'm spoiled by Claude and Gemini, or maybe something's actually off with GPT 5.1. I'd run some code through, get a wall of boilerplate, or just a generic answer, and end up switching back to Claude or Gemini. It's not that it's bad, it just doesn't feel like it's grown with the rest of the space. It's like the excitement's moved elsewhere. So, yeah. If you're just looking for an agent to help you get unstuck, clean up a gnarly Swift UI bug, suggest a refactor, map out a tricky data model. Honestly, all three are good enough. But if you want the one that feels a little more alive, that'll go deep on a problem and not just tap out when things get tough, Claude Opus 4.5 has been my default for a few weeks now. No joke. The others get you started, but Claude's the one I trust to stick with me when the code gets ugly. All right, let's get honest for a second. It doesn't matter how smart a model is if you can't trust it to finish a task. I ran a ton of longer coding sessions with all three bug bashes, full feature builds asking for multiple iterations and edits. Gemini 3 Pro was fast, like really fast, but it kept tripping over itself when running tools in Cursor. Sometimes it just stopped calling tools, and I'd have to kill the session, start over, and try again. Not the end of the world, but if you're halfway through a 3-hour refactor, it's the kind of friction that makes you want to scream. Opus 4.5? That's what surprised me. It wasn't perfect. Every now and then it makes a mid-assumption and you have to nudge it. But when you brief it properly, when you give it rules, when you treat it like a teammate and not a vending machine, it actually remembers what you want and sticks to your project vibe. I had sessions where it stuck with me for 2 or 3 hours, pulling in design systems, respecting file boundaries, even sticking to my weird SLC quirks. I didn't spend half my time re-explaining myself, and it didn't just make up new features for fun. GPT 5.1, here's where it lost me. I had more than a few sessions where it just kind of gave up, or it'd go off the rails, missing context, hallucinating structure, or just getting stuck when I needed a real plan. More than once I found myself going, okay, let's just paste this into Claude and see if it can save the day. And yeah, that's what I did. The quality just didn't meet my expectations for what I wanted to actually ship. So, real talk. If you need an agent you can rely on to carry you through an ugly session or one that can recover context mid-build, Claude 4.5 is the one I'm betting on right now. Gemini 3 is fun, it's fast, but I don't trust it to not drop the ball when it matters. GPT 5.1, it's a fallback, but not my main. Now here's the piece nobody tells you when the benchmarks drop, what actually fits a solo workflow. Because let's be real, solo dev isn't about racking up benchmarks or chasing the perfect API price. It's about momentum and about keeping your tools from killing your flow. Gemini 3 Pro is solid for a lot of quick sprints, ship a feature, run some batch edits, pull together some Figma to code stubs, but the moment you get into a longer context-heavy session, you feel those context limits and the weird session bugs. I loved the speed, but I hated starting over when something broke. Claude Opus 4.5. I mean, it's not the cheapest, but I actually want to keep using it. The fact that you can crank up the high thinking effort, prompt it with your full context, and just let it roll. It actually feels like an indie teammate, not a disposable tool. The price still stings, but it's finally in that I can live with it range if you're pushing real work, not just demo projects. GPT 5.1, for me, it's just the safe bet. If the others crash, or I need to run a basic code cleanup, sure. It's steady, but it's not giving me anything special. It's like the fallback browser you open when Chrome crashes. Reliable, but nobody's excited to use it. Here's the wild thing. If you're actually trying to build a hybrid agent stack, like bouncing between Claude, Gemini, Cursor, Codex, and all that, having more than one agent is still the real move. Don't trust any of these to do everything for you. Sometimes you need the speed of Gemini, sometimes you want the depth of Claude, and sometimes GPT 5.1 is just the only one left standing when you're out of tokens elsewhere. And honestly, that's what being a solo dev with AI looks like in 2025. No one agent is enough. You're always stitching together a stack that fits your weird flow, even if it means running the same prompt in 3 windows just to get the right answer. So yeah, if you're still hanging out here at the end, honestly, you're a legend. No joke. It's kind of wild, right? You ever feel like every month there's a new best model and everyone's shouting about which one you have to use, but then you try it and it's just more noise? That's solo dev life with AI now. Sometimes it feels like a circus. Sometimes it's just you, your repo, and a pile of agents fighting over your prompt. And honestly, if you're tired of agent roulette, switching tools, losing flow, wasting tokens on stuff that just doesn't fit how you build, maybe this is your cue to try something new, or at least go a little deeper. And yeah, check out crafterslab.dev. It's not just some tutorial dump, it's not another AI clone farm, it's honestly my home base. I built it for solo devs who treat AI like a real teammate, not just a button you smash when you're stuck. And it's packed. You get full walkthroughs, like actual short video tutorials, notes from the trenches, and yeah, straight up downloadable zips you can drop right into your project. The real magic is in the crew. Members get to actually riff in the comments, ask follow ups, go back and forth, and yeah, that's just the start. Because the real core is the Notion teamspaces, my live playbook, the real command center, all the dashboards for every app, agentready.md files, every weird prompt library, all the exact systems I use to keep my solo workflow moving with AI. There's a full curated Swift and Swift UI library in there too, not just random files, but the actual stuff I use to fine tune models and build out my own custom MCPs for Claude Code, for Cursor, all of it. If you want to get your hands on the resources I actually rely on day to day, it's all sitting there, not just for watching, but for remixing into your own stack. And then, of course, there's Ops Lab. That's honestly my favorite part. It's where I build and share all my AI agent systems, Notion templates, the workflows, automations, all wired up and ready for you to copy, tweak, totally break, and make your own. The whole point is to keep the indie stack connected so you don't feel like you're building in a silo, even if you're solo at the keyboard. So, yeah. If you want to get in before it gets busy and prices start moving, now's kind of the sweet spot. The crew's still small, super hands-on, and honestly, it feels way more like a behind-the-scenes dev lounge than some giant faceless forum. Would love to see you in there, swap some stories, maybe even learn something from what you're building next. All right, that's it for me. Keep crafting, keep shipping, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.